So for this part of the lesson, we're not going to do all of them. I'm going to just focus on the ones that you're going to be using in this course or in the next course, okay? So there's stuff that, like changing from a decimal to a fraction, I don't really care if you know how to do that, right? Because we're not going to be even doing any of this, okay, in our courses. But adding fractions, subtracting fraction, multiplying, dividing fractions, they're going to keep coming up, okay? So you're going to have to know how to do that. Okay? So, adding fractions or subtracting fractions. What's the rule? Can you just simply add any fraction like this? You have to find a common denominator first. So, we have to have a common denominator. Okay? To find the common denominator, you need to find your lowest common multiple. Okay? So, the multiples of 3. What are the multiples of 3? 3, 6, 9, 12, right? These are the multiples, right? So this is your multiplication table that you were supposed to memorize when you were little. Now, what are the multiples of 4? No, it will be 4, 8, 12, 16, right? Okay, so trust me, I sometimes forget my multiplication table. Okay, so now you're going to get used to it, but for the first one, I'm just going to write it, okay? So the multiples of 3 are 9, 12, 15, right? Multiples of 4 is 4, 8, 12, 16. Now, once you see two numbers that are the same, then this is your lowest common multiple, okay? Do you see a common number? 12. If 12 is common between both multiples, then this is my lowest common multiple, okay? That means this is my common denominator, okay? So, my common denominator is 12. Now, I have to figure out what do I have to multiply 3 by to give me 12. So if I multiply 3 by 4, I must do the same to the numerator. Otherwise, I'm changing my equation. Okay? So I multiply my denominator by 4. That means I have to multiply my numerator by 4. 4 times 2 gives me 8. Because 3 times what gives me 12? So I'm looking at what do I multiply it by to give me my common denominator. Okay? What do I multiply 4 by to give me 12?
9? Sorry, 3.
3. So I have to multiply 4 by 3 to give me 12. I do the same to the top. Okay? So I have to multiply 3 by 3, which is
9.
9. Okay? So now you see that all what I have to do right now is subtract my numerator. So 8 take away 9, right? And that gives me negative 1 over 12. Now I'm going to look at my answer. Can I simplify it any further? Or is it the simplest number? That's the simplest, right? Anytime you have a 1, that is your simplest. Okay, let's look at another example here. Plus 2 over I'm trying to find a number that is not okay. 4. What are the multiples of 5? 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay, 25. What are the multiples of 4?
4, 8,
So as of up to 16, there is nothing common. You see 20 is a common a multiple, right? So that means my my denominator is going to be 20. What do I have to multiply 5 by to give me 20? 5 times what gives me 20? 7 times what gives me 20? So, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I apologize. Since I multiplied the 5 by the 4, then I have to multiply the 7 by the 4 as well. So that's going to be 28. What do I have to multiply 4 by to give me 20? 5. Anything I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. So that's going to be 38 over 20. Any questions about this so far? Yeah? Any questions about this? Because I gave you the question as a plus. Okay? So this can be done. So you have to find a common denominator if you have a plus or if you have a minus. It can. Okay?
You always make the bottom one the same.
You always have to make your denominator, when you're adding and subtracting fractions, your denominator has to be the same lowest common multiple. Okay? Okay? Now, I can reduce this, right? What can I divide both 38 and 20 by?
2.
I can reduce them both by 2. And what do I get if I divide both of them by 2?
4.
I might be able to, no, I won't be able to do 4. So I can divide both by 2. What's 38 divided by 2? 19 over 10. 19 is a prime number. Do you guys know what a prime number means?
Yeah.
I remember that from like grade 3 or some shit.
What is it? It can't be divided by anything other than itself or 1, right? So 19 is a prime number. That means the only thing I can divide it by is 19, right? And or 1.
1.
And then 10 can only be divided by 5, 2, and 1, so there's no more common. So that's it. That's my lowest term. Okay? So, adding fraction, subtracting fraction, you have to find a common denominator. This is the easiest. I know fraction is probably the people's nightmare sometimes, right? You learn that in like grade 5, 6, right? And then this is probably where like all students lose it, right? When they learn fractions. The problem is people start losing it even more when we start introducing letters to the fractions and then try to subtract them out. Okay? So the good thing is that we don't do that in grade 11 here, grade 11 college. So we don't introduce any letters. Thank God, right? All right. How about if I'm multiplying fractions? How can I multiply fractions? I have to multiply the numerator by the numerator, and I have to multiply the denominator by the denominator. Okay? So when I'm multiplying, I have to multiply numerator by numerator, denominator by denominator. Okay? So that's going to be negative 2 over negative 12. Okay? So 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. You always have to reduce your answer if you can. Can I reduce this? Can I divide them both by the same number?
Yeah.
I can divide them both by 2. Now, question for you. We learned yesterday, if I have negative times negative, or negative divided by negative, what does it become? Positive. So you see this here, I have 2 negatives divided by each other. That's going to become positive. So that's here, number 1, is this here. The negatives are going to cancel each other. Okay? So that's going to be 2 over 12. Now, we said that we can reduce this. I can divide both of them by 2. So if I divide 2 by 2, that gives me 1 over 6. saying, oh, I have 2/12 of a pizza. Well, no, you have 1/6 of a pizza, right? Or I have 2/4 of a pizza. That's a half, right? So you always have to reduce it to the, when you can. So multiplying, I think, is one of the easiest, right? Because you just have to multiply top by top, bottom by bottom, and then simplify. How about division?
Cross multiply.
I don't like that word cross multiply because it can trick people out. Because where are you gonna put your denominator and things? So that does not work here. Okay. So division, we have to change it to multiplication. Now, to change the division into multiplication, so I write my first fraction as is, so -2/5. Change your division into multiplication, so that becomes times. And then what happens here is your second fraction is going to flip, because division and multiplication are opposite operation. Okay? So you change your division into multiplication, and you flip your second fraction. So your second fraction is going to become 4/-3. So now I made it into a multiplication, and what do I do with multiplication? Multiply top by top, bottom by bottom, right? So the first thing is I have to change it to multiplication and flip the second fraction. So let's start. -2 times 4 is -8 over 5 times -3 is -15. Sorry, that's a -8. Over -15.
But they are negative, both.
Both of them are negative, that means
They cancel each other out.
cancel each other out. So I have 8/15. Can I reduce it?
No.
What can I divide 8 by? 2,
4,
4, 8.
10.
8. 2, 4, 8. That's what I can divide 8 by. How about 15? What can I divide 15 by?
5.
5 and 3 and 15. There's nothing common there, right? 2, 4, 8, 3, 5, 15. Nothing common, so I can't simplify. Okay? So that will be 8/15. That's it. That's my final answer. Okay? Okay, I'm never gonna ask you to change a fraction decimal without using a calculator, right? So if you wanna change a fraction into a decimal, honestly, put it in a calculator, find the decimal, and move on with your life, okay? Because, okay, we're not gonna even do that. So if you wanna know, like if you wanna do this, you just do 3 divided by 25 and finding the decimal, okay? Now, I'm going to skip to the ones with percentage because that's what we really need. Okay? So, convert percent to a decimal. When I say 79%, what does that mean to you?
79/100.
Thank you. So 79% is actually 79 out of 100. So a percentage means 100.
Yeah.
So now it's as simple as dividing 79 by 100, right? And that's going to give you 0.79. Okay? So always remember, a percentage is divided by 100. Okay? Now, if I want to convert from a decimal to a percent, multiply by 100. A percentage means 100. So if I'm converting from a decimal to a percent, I have to multiply that decimal by 100. Okay? So the way I think of 100 has 2 zeros, so I'm gonna take the decimal, I'm gonna move it 2 units to the right, so you see this, 1, 2, right? And that gives me my 4 point. You can always use your calculator, but this is just for you to visualize. Okay? So, my decimal starts here, I'm gonna move, because I'm multiplying, I move to the right, so 1, 2, and that gives me my percent. So you're gonna always have to know how to go from a percent to a decimal and from a decimal to a percent. So this is something that you should know. Okay? Converting percent to a fraction, I would say, like, I mean, what's 45%?
45 out of 100.
Out of 100, right? So that's your first step. Your first step is to write out of 100,
Yeah.
right? So it's 45 out of 100.
Yeah.
Now, you can try to reduce that. Okay? What can you divide both of them by?
5.
Okay, by 5. Yeah? I can divide 45 by 5. I can divide 100 by 5. What's 45 divided by 5?
9
And that's
out of 50.
what's 100 divided by 5?
9, 20.
9 over 20. Okay? That's all what I need you to know from this sheet. So, for your worksheet, for this worksheet that's coming, that's the next worksheet, so fractions and decimals, don't worry about without using a calculator. I really don't care about that part because I'm never gonna ask you to do something without a calculator, okay? So I want you to do question number 3. Question number 4. 3, 4. We don't do 1 and 2. No, you don't have to. 3, 4, 5, and 6.
You say 5 and 6?
Yeah. 3, 4,